not every geek with a Commodore 64 can hack into NASA.
This one's dedicated to all the hackers. Yo. Even out, settle scores quick. Our disaster recovery requires even more discs. Put your bytes up, prove it or you forfeit. Got my C64 and we blew it into orbit. M. Bison with 8 straight perfects. Overload emotions make hate break circuits. In case you heard, it's a named fake service. Optimize our runtime to escape verdicts. Got an integer scope flow that they can't sign. Passing code, didn't sanitize command lines, landmine. So before they'll see me after, I'm advice star, courage, woke plus velociraptor. Don't prove we're human unless we really have to. My team builds schemes that destroy, recapture. Hate what they see, finish this chapter. By the way, we're not any geeks, we hack into NASA. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring. I'm just waiting till my BlackBerry dies, cause I'll replace it with the Raspberry Pi. Don't compare to this track, it makes everything they said dull. Neutralize any threat, turn Red Skull to Dev Null. They killed virus writers that we mentioned, but instead they ascended to the VX heavens, then reincarnate as live wires. Still inside we hide ciphers and sign device drivers. Which school will we hit next? They didn't learn the format, so we've got a print F. Next step is a chin check. Freestyles that I spit best, they didn't decrypt yet. I crush internet MCs and rhyme battles. Get your Wi-Fi tackled, hacked by pineapple. I don't think you'll like my Snapple, cause I popped it with vodka in a cyanide capsule. We drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things.
You know there's gonna be security, right?
First we drink all the booze, then hack all the things. Then backdoor the firmware on anything you bring, regardless of the hardware, service or encoding. Connected to the internet and someone's gonna own it. This is for the pirates that clap and love the sound. Attacking from the cloud, then we're back in underground. There's no masking from us now. We pop tornadoes around the globe, track and hunt you down. Hacked on schedule, add it to your calendar. Devices online, here comes another challenger. State infiltrated, so undercover. This is for my comrades who stare at the debuggers and trace every buffer. Examining the code flow, haven't been to sleep, better pop another no-dose. I think I'll need a planet-sized urn, cause some men just wanna watch the world burn. Your turn.
Stay out of jail.
Technologically possible, yeah.
Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring.
I mean, these servers have more firewalls than the devil's bedroom.
Hack all the things. Drink all the booze. Hack all the things. Hack all the things. Hack all the things. Things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring. Hack all the things.
Yeah, well, good luck, man.
Ladies and gentlemen and everyone around, welcome to UHC
Oh, I do not look nearly as pretty as Marina. Hey everyone. Hi, my name is Int80. I am the rapper in Dual Core. Marina is off for tonight, but you are stuck with my mustache instead. Welcome to UHC. It is the ultimate hacking championship, and we are streaming a live CTF here on Twitch to all of y'all. Let's see, what do I say? We've got some amazing sponsors up in the top right, I think. Crosec, which is Kadu's company. Kadu is our main CTF author. Oh my gosh, it's Marina. She is alive. She did not sequester me into a basement and create a deep fake. So we're like, I'm alive also. We're both here, but Marina's off for the night. And, and there we go. Yeah, Marina's balancing out the beauty in the stream.
If y'all need any help, I'm out for college studies. If y'all need any help, scream Marina very loudly in the chat, and I'll come to help. But otherwise, good luck, y'all.
So yeah, Marina's Marina's here, and also her company is one of the sponsors, Hackety Inc. that you see in the top. So if you are just joining us, maybe even for the first time, and you're wondering, what is this? What am I watching? This is UHC. It is a hacking competition that is streamed live with 10 players. What we've got is an environment, like a network, set up with systems that were made intentionally to be hacked for this competition. And it runs twice every single week. So on a Saturday, there is the qualifying round. We get players from all over the world. It's open to everyone. The top 10 players who qualify make it into the finals, which run live Sunday night, which you are watching right now. Again, this is an environment, a set of systems that are made specifically to be hacked for this competition. And so everything here is legal. It is just we are learning and showing hacking kind of in an esports format. This is the first of its kind, as far as I know, created originally by Igor Rincon, or as they say in Brazil, Igor Rincon. And he is a Brazilian hacker who started streaming hacking and CTFs and decided, hey, let's do this at a bigger scale. So we have some guest hosts to join us tonight. And without further ado, I would like to bring in my first guest, if I can. I'm piloting for the first time tonight, so we might have some turbulence here. But let's see if we can bring him to the stream. Please give it up for my homie John Hammond.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, thank you for joining us, and thank you for coming along for this ride.
Absolutely. I was in the back kind of crossing my fingers like, hey, can you bring me in? Am I going to actually make it?
I didn't know either, so it was a coin flip.
Well, hey, super happy to be here. Thank you so much, as always, for having me with you. I know we're going to have a ton of fun.
Definitely. We love you, John. And for the folks that might be tuning in for the first time or may not have seen any of your YouTube videos or know anything about you, would you please intro yourself to the audience?
Sure thing. Hi. Hello. My name is John Hammond. I have a cheesy YouTube channel where I showcase some cybersecurity videos, capture the flag, walkthroughs, programming tutorials, like malware analysis, nerdy, geeky stuff. And I have a lot of fun. And I don't know, I like this sort of thing. It's a passion. It's a hobby. And I'm really happy to be learning. And that's what this is all about, especially with hacking esports doing this. I'm here to learn. So we'll have some fun.
And John, you recently did the NahamCon CTF, right? You built the CTF or you orchestrated it.
Yes, yeah. NamCon CTF, this was the kind of the second time we had ran it, but it was a lot of fun to put together. We had a ton of challenges, just a regular kind of Jeopardy style game, but I was really pleased with it. It seemed like a lot of other folks were, so we like to do those. We like to host and play CTFs just as much. Absolutely.
I definitely want to dig into that more as we get into the broadcast, but I also want to welcome our additional guest host to the stream, presuming that I can add them in correctly as well. Please, everybody in the chat, drop a 0 for O'Day joining us.
Hey. Yo.
What's up? So O'Day, I'm sure a lot of folks know you as well. We see you on the leaderboard in the qualifying round every week. But for the folks that may not know you, O'Day, please talk about yourself. Let us know who you are.
My name's Ryan Montgomery. I also go by O'Day, Zero Day, whatever you want to call me. I've been hacking since I was a little kid, and I mainly play CTFs for fun now. And yeah. I mean, that's the basics summary.
And not for nothing, but you are like the longtime #1 on the leaderboard in Try Hack Me, like one of the premier CTF platforms.
Right. Well, I mean, I can't say that, or it's egotistical, but
I can say it. I think it. I believe it. So that makes it real to me.
We'll brag for you, Ryan.
Yeah. And so, Ode, tell us about your like approach to CTF, especially in the sense of like Try Hack Me, because Try Hack Me is so varied. There are so many different rooms with so many different types of challenges. What is your approach like?
I mean, obviously everyone has their own style, but depending on the box, so Windows, Linux, whatever it is, I'm gonna use Rust scan first, and then I'm gonna see what ports are open. I'm gonna do my regular configuration phase, and if I find a service or whatever it is, I do research into it, and I don't really know how to explain.
Yeah, I meant more at like a mental tenacity level, right? Like, I mean, that takes some dedication to stay at the top of the leaderboard in such a competitive platform. Like, how do you do that? How do you stay on top of your game?
A lot easier. So I'm a business person. I own businesses, and I'm busy. I would say 99% of my life. But 3 times a week, there's challenges that are released on the platform at the same exact time. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing, meeting, driving, whatever it is, I make sure that I'm on the computer at that time to start that challenge. And I've been doing that consecutively now for a long time, and trying to blood the rooms to get the points and to maintain the position. And that's it actually interfered. Like, my hobby is, CTFs haven't made me money yet, but my hobbies are consume a lot of the free time that I have.
That's good. I mean, I feel like the gist of life is to be able to spend your free time in the way that you want to spend it.
For sure, and I love it. I love the communities. I love pen testing in general, not just CTFs, but CTFs is where I've landed in the past year and a couple months. I mean, I've only been in the CTF world for, like I said, about a year and a month.
Yeah, no doubt. And so let's see, I want to make sure that we kind of get the rules out in front just before I forget, because Marina makes this look so easy week after week. And I keep thinking of things that I'm missing where I'm like, oh shoot, Marina would have done this by now. So the rules for the CTF are that it runs 3 hours max. So I'm currently in Austin, Texas at 6 p.m. Central Time. So we are going to end in 2 hours and change, almost 3 hours from now, if no player collects all the flags before then. If any player collects all of the flags tonight before that 3 hour window, then the CTF ends once all of those flags are captured. If you get to a flag first, you end up with the same amount of points as anybody else who gets that flag, but you end up higher on the scoreboard. You get priority for that. And so for players that are playing, people that are interested to play, speed can really be an issue. We've had some weeks where folks only solve like 1 or maybe 2 challenges, and it literally comes down to like a matter of seconds. I think, John, you might have been on one of those weeks, but like we've seen where if you just pay attention to like the HTTP responses, for example, that can get you that first flag that puts you out in front. What about you, John? Tips and tricks really quickly before we move into the player introductions for like how you can quickly find flags in a competition like UHC?
Yeah. I guess I kind of go out guns blazing, and I think that's the good mentality that a lot of CTF players has if they know that time is of the essence. So yeah, if it's cheesy and you can roll with Rust scan, get your nmap enumeration quick and as fast as you can, and then start to poke at things manually while you have automation running in the background, whether it's Nikto, whether it's GoBuster, whether it's like WP scan, SQL map, whatever tool you can let kind of go off on the side while you go poke and do your own manual analysis. That's super important because it can find things for you while you're still doing your own investigation. So go out guns blazing, go fast, run. It's a race.
Yeah, excellent points and good tips. And I know Ode would be one to say, why would I use Go Buster when I can use Ferox Buster, for example?
I was thinking.
You got me.
And adding fuzzing support soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, right? Where we can put that fuzz keyword in there, and then we can start fuzzing other aspects of the HTTP request.
Absolutely.
All
Well,
right.
oh no, the challenges haven't started yet.
Yeah, not yet, but let me kick over to the player introductions, and I apologize, everybody. We are going to get the infinity pool reflection here going for just a moment while I switch into the browser. There it is. And intro you to the players. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So welcome to UHC with my first time hosting, and I am waiting for the doc to load. Let's see how it goes.
Google servers shut down.
UHC is too hardcore for Google, apparently. All right. Hopefully this is showing up for everybody well enough. It's always fun being on meetings and being like, can everybody see my screen all right? So we are in the 33rd edition. We count our editions by week. So this is 33 weeks of UHC with 2 separate CTFs each week. So 66 unique CTFs thus far. All right, our first player, Sysmix, rocking in from Poland. Awesome. Coming up next, we have Celesian, I think, all-time winning champ at 6 separate times.
6 times. That's insane.
It is wild. And I think Celesian is only like 17 years old and has been hacking for like a year and a half or something. So super impressive and makes me really scared of Brazilian hackers. Let's see. Joining us now, James Rasner, which I can't recall. John or Ode, does that name look familiar to you at all?
Not to me.
Yeah, truthfully, I don't think I've seen that one before.
Okay, so might be a first-time player. Sometimes also the players switch their handles as well, so we never know. But I think this might be their first time playing as well, so I'm excited. And let's see. Oh, and we've got Clips joining us from Germany. So we've got Poland, Brazil, and Germany thus far. 3 different countries for Ultimate Hacking Championship.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. And I think it's like late in Germany now with the time change. So best of luck to y'all in the EU rocking out with work in the morning, potentially.
Yeah.
All right. Joining us is Gosh, which I believe Ode mentioned is Silvano, who was our original host in the English edition for UHC. Gosh is if Silvano is a Brazilian who lives in Florida and is a previous champion on UHC, has won in the past. So looking forward to having them back for more. And let's see. Oh, Superhero joining us. Awesome. So another player from Europe, and Superhero is on your team, right, Ode?
Yeah, Sysmix and Superhero.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. So we got some like world-class competition here, and I pun forced for sure, but it is definitely some top CTF players in the mix. I saw Superhero with the new VPS script that will like set up all those CTF tools. That looks super dope. Yeah,
and the tweet I posted about it was the early release of that, but there's another version coming out that Suit Guy, he's in the chat, the 0x033F3. He made his own version of it where you can control what you download and added a ton more features to it. So that'll be coming soon.
Sick. Yeah, I'm always a fan of those like Ansible playbooks or Docker images or whatever that can kind of build out your tool collection really quickly.
Yep, for sure.
Joining us also, not to be confused with our player from Germany named Clips, is a player from Brazil named Eclipse. And I'm sure I will stumble over that one all night.
It's okay. We'll all fumble on that.
I feel like this is a SHA-1 like namespace collision kind of attack. All right, and then we also have Emmanuel Brothers, maybe like Super Mario Bros. I feel like, and we just didn't have the space for it on the screen, maybe. But yeah,
Bro 5.
Yeah, Emmanuel Bro 5. I can't tell. I'm just gonna go with Emmanuel for short.
Bro 5.
Or Bro 5. Yeah, Bro 5 is a good one.
Is he the 5th brother?
Oh, that's a
6.
Yeah, I was going to say the 6 if you start from 0, right?
himself. I'm surprised you said 5.
It's fair. Fair.
Sick. All right. And Bert joining us again. Nice. So Bert is a player that's been on a few weeks, and I know we were off last week for NahamCon doing the Hacker Game Show, but I think that this would make I want to say 3 or maybe 4 weeks for Bert joining us in a row. And that name, it looks German. I believe that Bert is an American who is originally from Germany. So we are just crisscrossing the globe here in every which way.
Nice.
All right. And John, the winner. Yes. And fortunately, Marina is not here to yell at me about the pronunciation. So I am just going to go with John, the winner tonight. And that is it. That is the end of it.
Excellent. What a lineup.
Yeah, this is going to be great. I am super excited. We've got some newcomers and we've got some longtime champs. And so we are in good shape. Folks that are watching us, you can bet on the players. You can bet your Twitch points or channel points to bet on a particular player if you want. I think that expires in the first hour. So it's literally you have 45 minutes left to bet on a player, and the CTF hasn't quite started yet. So we will jump over to that, but just wanted to let y'all know. And I believe that the players are in order as to how we introduce them. Don't worry, we'll go through the order again if I can remember or if somebody can remind me. But John, before we end up getting started with the CTF here, can you talk more about your experience with the CTF for NahamCon?
Sure. Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about it. There's a lot to unpack. So anything specific you kind of want me to drill down on, I certainly can.
Yeah. What were your highlights?
Ooh, okay. The highlights. Honestly, so the most fulfilling thing for me is kind of seeing I don't know. I try to put out certificates or hey, here's my kind of participation and little badge that, hey, I got to play. And it's always really rewarding to see that after the game when everyone is screaming about it and sharing it on Twitter or LinkedIn or socials. I love that portion of it. And that's kind of the most rewarding thing is when I get to see how many people that played and had some fun and learned a little bit, whether it's the feedback form, but we had, I think, 6,500 or so that had made an account, and there were about 3,500 on the scoreboard that had solved a challenge. So that's always incredible and crazy to see the absolute reach and to see what we can bring to people and offer as training value. So I hope maybe some folks listening had played, and I hope they had fun.
Yeah, it was fascinating. One of the write-ups that I read for a particular challenge was really intriguing to me. And Ode, I think that you had also done this challenge as well, but could you both talk more about the Worker Bee challenge from NahamCon?
Yeah, well, John made it, so that's it's. I don't know how he's going to talk about it other than developing it, but doing it was very interesting. Am I allowed to disclose it now?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's chat it up.
I didn't compete in NahamCon, but I did a few of the boxes, especially John's. But Worker Bee was awesome. So long story short, you had to bypass HTTPS. It appeared to be an SSRF, but you were able to read files on the machine. You found, how do you say the word, Wesenberg?
Yeah, Workzerg. I always trip up on the pronunciation of it as well.
I also have no idea.
Yeah, Workzerg debug.
on the internet, and it has a pin. And your goal was to get a file, or get multiple files to decode that pin, and then get spawn a shell from that. So it sounds easier said than done, but it took me a little while, and so I did it with Superhero as well. It was a very, very cool one.
And so, John, what was it like making that challenge, John?
Ooh, so Worker Bee was my baby. That was probably my favorite challenge that I had produced for that game. It was a quote unquote hard, right, in the difficulty tag web challenge. And previously in the last year's NomCon, we had this challenge called Ladybug that was just a Flask application, a Python Flask running Workzerg in debug mode. So if you were to find the debug mode, it didn't have a pin on it, so you could just go ahead and run commands. So Worker Bee was kind of meant to be the inspiration of the next, Flask debug mode Workzerg that I kind of wanted to offer. And that one did have a pin on it. But the task was, hey, here's this conceptual application that you can send worker bees to go to different URLs and retrieve whatever. It's just kind of the gimmick, classic cookie cutter thing to have a vulnerability in a CTF challenge. I wanted that to offer the potential for local file inclusion, because while you could give it a URL for it to go access, that was accessed with the Python's URL lib module. So it would use URL open, and I had a little filter in there to make sure that HTTPS was present in there. It didn't have to start with HTTPS as the schema, but that text had to be in the URL that you had supplied. So there is a trick. I don't know if the game is on, and if I'm still yapping, you can shut me up and we can go back to the real thing. But
yeah, we can pull up the screen at least, and the players will be doing recon, and so we'll I want to continue hearing the story of the solve for worker bee and the building around it. Sorry. Bear with me again as I figure out how to share the screen correctly. Oh my gosh!
I see some folks running, and I didn't want to stomp on them with me yapping. So
okay, yeah, sorry, thanks. Okay, so we'll jump in and we'll check in on Sysmex, who's doing some initial recon, and I wonder if I can make this full screen, maybe. Sick. All right, cool. So yeah, John, please keep telling us about worker bee.
Sure. Sorry, my mind is kind of cut in half there, but
if you want, we can pause. We can talk about what we're seeing on screen right now.
Yeah,
and then
I'd like to give the players a little bit of limelight as to, hey, what are the cool things they're doing to get moving, and then maybe once things slow down, I can give us more deets on NomCon. If that's cool.
Yeah, that totally sounds good. Not a problem at all. And so it looks like so the players start at a scoreboard uhc.seg.br, and then they start digging in on the challenges from there. And so it looks like Sysmex has landed on this first challenge, is kind of building out some notes here. And it looked like there was an exposed Git repo was one of the things that I noticed there. What do y'all like for looting Git repos?
I use, you mean like just downloading an entire repo?
Right, yeah, because sometimes you can't just do like a Git clone of like a remote URL.
So for me personally, I have an extension that I don't recommend that anyone downloads because it can get you banned from certain sites with WAPs, but it's called Bishop. It will scan for /.git capital head. If it detects that directory, then I know, and in most cases I can dump their repository. And the tool, if you guys aren't familiar, is called Git Dumper. It's a whole package that has 4 different scripts in it, and a lot of times you'll run into this misconfiguration in the real world as well.
And how about for you, John?
Yeah, I was going to mention. I honestly think it's the exact same utility that Ode was thinking of. It's a GitHub repo from, and I might be mispronouncing this, it's Internet Wash or Internet Wash. It's, I believe, a German word.
Yep, Internet Wash, yep.
Yeah, and their Git tools package has a git dumper.sh script, and that is what I always use, and it consistently works for me. We had that in a challenge in NomCon CTF, funny enough, but some folks were using a git dumper.py, and I think it got a little funky when you're trying to git clone it from the URL itself. Sometimes that doesn't work. Especially if, like, I think directory indexing is off. So I always use gitdumper.sh, and that was great for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That Git tools repo from Internet Wash is, at least that's how I pronounce it as well. It has always been a solid go-to. I know when I can get a clone, there's like a Truffle Hog. There's like GitRob. I have like some tooling that I've put on my GitHub that will pull email addresses out, which is always fun for like OSINT and recon stuff. But the Git tool stuff from Internet Wash has always been my go-to.
Yep, and ironically, it's super ironic. The guy that introduced me to Git Dumper, Rick Glasser, is in the chat right now.
Oh, nice! What up?
Awesome.
So cool. I love how like connected our world is, where you can literally be like talking about a tool and the author of the tool is right there with you. It was amazing. All right, so we're seeing Sysmix pulling some Python straight from the Python docs, and then looking to mess around with some JWTs, it appears like. Ode or John, either of you have any like fun experiences with JWTs?
A ton.
Yeah?
Yeah, a ton. Pen Tester Lab offers about 12 different challenges, or maybe more now, with JWTs, and yeah, so a ton of experience.
My go-to with JWTs is generally been I don't do a lot of application stuff, and so generally if I find a JWT, I'll try what is it, like just switching the username out and just being like, can I set myself as like admin, straight up, and like repackage the JWT and send it back in. And I think there's like one other one of like setting the algorithm to like nothing.
Yeah,
But other than that, I feel pretty inexperienced in comparison to other players, and so I know if I were playing right now and I was like going to tamper with the JWT, the sweat would start forming on my forehead.
sure. And what I'd be doing right now if I was them is I'd be fuzzing for a public key, or a public.pem, or something of that nature, so that I could forge a token, and I'd be also brute forcing the secret to try to forge a token to impersonate a different user. I'm looking at Superhero's screen right now. He's using Burp Suite with Joseph, which is a plugin in the extension. It's a free extension for anyone with the community edition. It simulates 2 attacks, but also has a JWT decoder that it's nice because you don't have to base 64 decode 3 different lines and then 2 different lines and then reconstruct it yourself. It does it all in the repeater tab.
That's nice.
Yeah, very cool.
Attacks, but that one feature alone, just not having to base 64 the two before the periods, is worth the tool alone.
Yeah, I've taken more to using Inspector inside of Burp, which we see here on the right side of the screen. And I love that you can just kind of do like the highlighting and it will automatically figure out the decoding for you. That's been like super nice and not something that I've played with previously, but I've seen some of the players from UHC use it. And I feel like that's one of the benefits that I get from UHC is I feel like I learn at least 1 or 2 new things every single week. And, I've been hacking for years now, and I love that there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. I believe that came out like 2, maybe 3 releases ago at most. So that when the Inspector tab I'm speaking of,
right,
it's great. It works really well, and a lot of times it detects the encoding right off the bat.
And John, what's like a go-to for you with JWTs? Do you just like start writing in Python immediately and you're just like, I got this, no problem?
Yeah, truthfully, I Python is kind of my weapon of choice, right? That's just a knee-jerk reaction to go, I don't know, cook something in that. I'm not always in Burp. Maybe that's a problem. I probably should be in Burp more than I am. But with JWTs, with the JSON web tokens, truthfully, I'll try to see, hey, is this signed with something that I can crack? Can I figure out the original password here? Can I find that secret and then recraft that as my own? I know a bit of the Pen Tester Lab kind of exercises and stuff. I know Conganator, kind of a good friend of mine, does a ton with JWT. And there are way too many tricks and way too many things you can do with them. Maybe I'm a poor man. I just kind of look, hey, can I crack this secret? But
yeah, good point. And it seems here that they've got access to the public and private keys. So I think that they should be able to like craft and sign their own JWTs now, right? Does that seem right?
It.
I didn't see. I was staring at the Twitch chat. I missed. Did he get it?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't checked the Twitch chat at all, but it looks like we were watching a Superhero, and it looks like they were able to enumerate the location of a public and private key. And so to me,
you're set.
Yeah, with those 2 pieces, it seems like you should be able to forge your own JWTs then.
Yeah, he should be solid.
Got all the puzzle pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, so we see here in the CyberChef output, there's a guest user, or in the input, I guess, as well, now that it's decoded. And I would think that, yeah, if you set that to like admin or, something different that's not guest, that might get you a different privilege level or different level of access potentially. So let's see what we get here. Kind of curious. This is a trip down memory lane for me. Like I said, I haven't touched JWTs in a long time.
It's very cool. I see a lot of folks kind of at that same spot. I see Celesian, I see Sizzy, bumping around to see some others, but it looks like they all know what they need to do. Now it's just a matter of doing it. So
that is awesome.
Another thing, people, jwt.io is a great site to read your tokens, but it's not a good site to modify your tokens. It doesn't like when you mess with things, unless it's. I think that if you modify the second column, you're okay, but anything else will break it. Ah,
interesting. And so, Ode, do you have a different site or a different app that you like for forging new JWTs?
Well, like I said, the Joseph extension on Burp, going off a superhero screen, he must not have pushed it from the proxy tab to repeater, because there's an option send to Joseph from and it'll highlight blue in the proxy tab. So once you push it to the repeater from the proxy tab and you send it to Joseph, you'll have a JWT drop down in the repeater where you can actually edit it in plain text. Nice. And it'll do all the encoding for you.
Oh, that's super slick. Well, let's see if Superhero picks up on it here. And then John and Ode, if y'all are jumping around and you see anybody else doing anything cool, let us know and we can jump over to their screen as well. But happy to stay on Superhero and see if we get that integration workflow going where it makes for the easier modification of the JWTs.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious. I wonder if maybe that the RSA keys came out of the Git repo potentially. We didn't really see that, and that's kind of one of the challenges that we have here on UHC. Is there's 10 players, and we're kind of bouncing around their screens, looking what everybody's doing. So sometimes we miss, a particular player doing a particular thing, and we end up with a gap in our chain to figure out how they got to a certain spot. But we will get all of the answers at the end of the stream once somebody either solves all the challenges or we run out of time. We will have a live debrief with the winner, and they will walk through how they solved their challenges. And we'll also have the challenge author on to also tell us how the challenges were designed and what the solutions were. And sometimes the solutions don't match up with what the intended solutions were. I always love that. It's kind of a surprise where it's like, oh, you weren't supposed to be able to do that, or I didn't think about that part. And it's always a surprise to the challenge author who tried to orchestrate the environment in a way that it was only going to be hacked in a specific path, but somehow a player was like, oh yeah, I was able to go do this and then get this other thing, and that's how I won.
That's like, in my opinion, like one of the most valuable parts is that, like, when you have that conversation, when you have the debrief, it's like all the cards are on the table. Everyone's telling us, hey, this is how I did what I did. And like, I think that the most learning comes from that when we're trying to fragment the storyline together here. But waiting for the day when we've got 10 other staff members and everyone's watching some individual dedicated player.
Yeah. All we need is we just need to become as large as like Riot Games or something like that, right? And then we'll be able to afford 10 staff members, no problem.
Someday soon, right?
Yeah, sure. It's right around the corner. Meanwhile, AWS is like, why haven't you paid your UHC bill from last month?
Oh, goodness.
No, I kid. But if you are interested in sponsorship, please do reach out because we do have a monthly AWS bill. I will be curious to know how they discerned the path for that RSA.public and RSA.private, which I'm guessing is from the Git repo, but we will definitely find out at the end. And so, I don't know, like, Ode, John, at this point, would you be thinking like, okay, I've got these public and private keys, I have this JWT, but I haven't been able to like really weaponize it yet, and I'm like 15, 20 minutes into the CTF. Would you continue on this path, or would you take a step back and maybe try to go loot the Git repo for more, or do like further enumeration somewhere else? What would be your paths of choice? Ode, we'll start with you.
I would, in my case, even if I found both of those files and the JWT, I'd be running a ton of different recon in the background.
And then checking in on those.
Yeah, because unfortunately, which I'm not a fan of this, but there's rabbit holes in most CTFs, and you can get yourself caught up for hours on something that is meaningless.
Yeah,
always recon.
And in real life all the time. And John, how about you?
Celesian is on the board.
Whoa, is there his first blood?
Sorry, I was on the scoreboard. I just saw it happen, so I see Celesian.
First blood.
Sick. Thank you for the call out there, John.
Yeah, I jumped into his screen to go see what's going on, but it doesn't look like he has a shell yet. He must have just found a flag somewhere through repeater, I think.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Maybe I see on the left side the request. There's like the do action is download, and then you can specify a file, and it looks like Celesian maybe specified a file, and then the flag came in through that potentially.
Ooh, it looks like it.
Oh, no, wait, this is I was like, oh, is there a shell? But this is Celesian's attack VPS. And so Celesian just has his own VPS that he spun up. And it looks like now he's trying to see whether he can get connectivity to a listener on his VPS from this download action from this repeater request.
So this is awesome. I love the fact that he uses his own VPS because it just removes so many other issues you might accidentally clamp on yourself. Like we saw that, I think, in previous UHC sessions where, hey, we're trying to roll stuff with ngrok, or we're just trying to get some firewall thing to make sure my port is open and accessible on the internet. It's just, truthfully, having that box kind of out there on the open internet, you can just use as a little puppet. That, I think, will certainly help. No matter whether you're playing a CTF or doing pen testing, for sure, having some of that presence there in a VPS just keeps you running.
Absolutely, yeah. And, like DigitalOcean, for example, $5 a month, right? Yeah. For an entire month. You spin up a VPS droplet for 3 hours during UHC, your costs are minimal. And the UHC does have a cash prize. It's not a lot. It's about $100 US, 500 reais for Brazil. But costs way less than that to run the VPS for 3 hours. And like you said, John, totally solves a bunch of problems, right? You don't have to manage working behind a NAT or doing port forwarding or any of this other like routing stuff. It's literally just like, send me a shell, give me a connection back, easy peasy.
And Onershin just typed in the chat, Oracle does offer free VPSs, including Kali, up to 2 forever for free.
Oh, wow. Sick. So yeah, get that Oracle Cloud for your C2 platform.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Okay, and so I just want to take a moment because with Celesian on the board, I did want to remind everybody that you can engage with the bot for betting with your channel points. These are all free. These are points that you get through just through being here, watching, chatting with us, etc. But if you want to bet, there is a bang or exclamation point, bang bet, and then player number, and then the number of points. So player number 1 is Sysmix. Player number 2 is Celesian. Player number 3, James Rasner. Player number 4, Clips, not to be confused with Eclipse, who's number 7. So player number 4, Clips. Player number 5, Gosh, which I believe is Silvano, our former champion. Player number 6, Superhero. Player number 7, Eclipse. Player number 8, Emmanuel, or Bro5, perhaps the 6th sibling. Player number 9, Bert. And player number 10, John the Winner. And so these are the players if you wanted to bet, and I believe betting will close in 20 minutes or so. So you can bet, again, these are your channel points. They are free. There's no payment required or anything like that. This is all funsies. I wish we were running like a darknet market or something. I think that'd be fun, but this is all just funsies.
Someday soon again.
Once we get to Riot Games, that's when we get into the real dirty stuff.
Someone
right.
asked in the chat that I have a Bitcoin shirt on. How's cybersecurity and hacking going to work in the blockchain area of networks? And the answer to that is I don't know, but I can imagine that with quantum computing, that the blockchain devs are going to have to step it up a notch.
Yeah, I'm very curious about what the quantum computing world looks like in the future, right? What does it mean when all of a sudden factoring is not a non-trivial problem? What does it mean when you can solve these really complex math problems almost instantly?
Yeah. I mean, you could just break cryptocurrencies in theory. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one.
I guess we
don't know yet.
Yeah, we can all just take our guesses and then we'll find out.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned Git Dumper earlier, and here we see John the Winner running it against the Git repo.
Nice.
And so it looks like it is pulling things down. I know that a couple of weeks ago, I think this was maybe the week or 2 weeks before NahamCon, the qualifying round did have an exposed Git repo, but none of the standard Git dumping tools seemed to work against it. Maybe Internet Wash Git tools did, but I actually went and did that one manually, like pulling out like the heads and the commit hashes and everything, so I could get like the individual commits. And it was cool. It was a really fun learning experience, both in the fact of like, this is how things manually work and you can like chain them together, as well as here's where my tool chain falls apart and I need to figure out how to do it on my own.
That's pretty awesome. I feel like that must have been a little painful, kind of carving through Git blobs and figuring out what puzzle pieces to what. But I mean, I love that. I think it's kind of necessary to, hey, when one tool doesn't work, try a different one. Or when none of them seem to work and you really know you have a lead. I didn't chime in when we were discussing, hey, what do we do when we feel like we're down a rabbit hole or we aren't sure we're in a rabbit hole yet? I always think sometimes that, hey, we just need to take a step back and go look through anything else that we might have missed. And if we are confident in the road we're going down, sometimes you got to roll your own.
Yeah. John Hammond, the champion of rolling your own for sure.
I don't know.
Well, I can say I feel like in the pen testing side of things, I think it's like a much more significant separator of, who can use tools versus who can figure out, like, take the time to dive in to see what's going on. Another place where I've seen that is reverse engineering. And when I would reverse stuff, a lot of tooling would fall apart when you're trying to unpack a custom protection or a custom packer, or you're trying to deprotect a custom protection. You wouldn't be able to just be like auto dump and go and get everything fixed up. And so I always like having more and more tricks in my bag. My thought is, if I can build a solid foundation and just get a good understanding of like, how does this technology work at a base level, I can figure out what the right questions to ask or what are the right questions to ask when my tooling fails me. And that's kind of been my approach, but how do y'all think about that sort of a setup to like hacking and taking things apart?
What say you, Ryan?
Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I completely zoned out there. What did you say?
Sorry, I was focused on the actual hacking at hand. I was talking about how, like you might have a set of tools that can work towards a particular objective, but if in the case of the Git example in the UHC qualifying round a couple weeks ago, none of the Git dumping tools worked on that exposed Git repo, or at least none of the ones that I tried. And so I had to look into like, how does Git actually work so that I could extract the contents. And so my thought is, at a high level, if I can build a solid foundation of understanding how like the technology that I'm dealing with works, then I can figure out what the right questions are to ask when my tooling falls apart or my tool chain fails me. And so I was wondering, like, what do you go for, Ryan? Because I see different people take this on different ways. Some people are just like, I'll just go find a different tool and I'll just keep trying everything until I find something that works.
I think I do a combination of that. So a lot of people know this on the try hack me end, but on a different end, there's people from all over the world in here. I usually hack from Windows, so a lot of the times tools don't work for me at all. And booting up my Kali machine to make a tool work is something that I usually don't do. But recently I've been doing it more. So I guess my reasoning for saying that is a lot of times I try to do things. I'll read exploit DB, or I'll check out what a tool is doing, and I try to replicate it manually. And then if it's something I don't understand, I try my like what you said. I try my best to understand it, so I'm knowledgeable enough to ask questions about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Lana, for rating 251 people. That's a friend of mine.
Whoa, what up?
Nice.
Welcome. And thanks for joining us. Folks that are joining, you are watching UHC. This is the Ultimate Hacking Championship. It is a live hacking competition where 10 players are competing in the same environment that is set up specifically to be hacked in particular ways. So all of it's legal, maybe not as exciting as illegal activity, but we wouldn't do that. We want all of our hackers to stay free. And so we are talking shop about hacking computers. So thank you for joining us. I'm looking at, I forget which player I rated into right now. Maybe it's Celesian.
Gosh.
It's Gosh, right. Yeah. Okay. Silvano, who is a returning champion and the original host of the English live for UHC. And it looks like Silvano's looking into Burp Suite applications or Burp extensions for this JWT stuff. So still messing around with the JWT. Ode, is anybody else on the board, or is it just Celesian still?
I don't have the board up. I have superhero screen on my right. It's being half covered by my microphone, so I just moved that over. I don't know the status of anybody other than him right now.
All I see is Celesian so far.
Nice.
But I'm sure the bottleneck will kind of break through in a bit.
Yeah, I feel like once folks figure out this this like challenge with the JWTs, they will be off and running. And what's always fascinating to me is players have different skill sets. So you'll see some players struggle in some places and then totally hit the gas when they get on to the next stage. And meanwhile, some players will just like take off from the jump. Like as soon as the gates open, they're out the door and running because they know exactly how to solve this particular problem that they're initially faced with. And so I always like that. There's no correlation between the qualifying round on Saturday and the live round that you're seeing right now in the finals on Sunday. So, you might have one set of challenges. They're all unique environments. The set of challenges Sunday might be completely different from the set of challenges on Saturday and Sunday. And so, you might barely make it into 10th place and just barely qualify for the UHC finals Sunday while you're playing the qualifying round Saturday at 10th place. But then Sunday, the gates open and you are like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what this is. This is Unix. And like you are off to the races. Sorry for the Jurassic Park reference. And it looks like Silvano's got that Joseph extension as well. And so I wonder if they will figure out how to chain everything together for that seamless modification of the JWTs.
Yeah, and I also just saw Superhero finally cracked the private key for the RSA key.
Nice.
Surprised they didn't do that earlier.
Did you happen to see? So when you say crack the private key, do you mean that they found the
second floor?
They used a John script to convert it to a readable format. And
okay.
Ran it against RockU, and the password was blank. I don't want to say the password on stream, but
sure.
He ran that, and now I believe that he'll be fine. But that's I think that it might be a pressure thing. Like for me, live streaming isn't what I do. I feel pressure, just talking about myself or talking about hacking. I mean, I do well when I'm sitting by myself behind the computer and hitting a server with everything I got. But when I'm here being asked questions, there's people in the chat. I guess it gives me I wouldn't say it's anxiety, but it just gets me jumbled a little bit. So I would say the same for somebody competing in a competition like this, where people are staring at your screen, and you might miss some easy things.
I am totally with you. I had that exact same feeling playing the Hacker 101 Try Hack Me Room on Nahamsek's stream a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. And, playing CTF on my own, no problem, right? I will mess around. I will fail all over the place. No big deal. Easy. Like, I'm excited to see what works and what doesn't. But man, being on stream, knowing that the world is watching my screen, it makes me anxious as heck. But I will say it was kind of like this, I don't know, enlightening, relieving experience to be like, I messed up a bunch on that stream. I don't think I got any flags. I ended up with a root shell, but I didn't get King of the Hill or Hacker of the Hill during the time that we were playing. Yeah. And so being like, it wasn't the end of the world. It was actually it was fun. I still learned a bunch of stuff. I got to dump databases. I got to do some fun attacks. I may not have been the quickest draw or the best post access hacker on the stream, but I still learned some things and still had a good time. But it was a really good experience and kind of letting me lighten up and being like, you know what, it's okay. We all make mistakes. I give this compliment to IPSec all the time, but I love that IPSec will make mistakes on his videos that he publishes and not edit them out, right? He'll be like, why doesn't this work? I don't know, this should have worked. And then he'll go figure out why it didn't work. And I love that. I personally would want to be here, this is how you do it. You do A, then B, then C, and that's the chain. And it's super easy. It looks simple. But I love when folks show their humanity, I guess is the way that I put it. And show that, we are human. We make mistakes. This is all hacking. Hacking is trying things and failing and figuring out what to do there.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And speaking of IPSec, he's actually in the server. He's not in the chat, but I see him here.
Oh, nice. Checking in on the players.
Hi, IPSec.
What up?
There he goes.
Nice. And John, your videos are always really polished as well, but I remember specifically your video where you did, I think maybe it was a Google CTF challenge, but you did anger. You were working on anger and you were walking through in parallel with the solution. And you were like, I'm just trying to learn this. I'm not an expert here. And I really appreciated that. I thought that was really high value of showing the process about how you go about learning things.
Yeah, thanks. I guess I do. It does eat at me sometimes when I don't have a pure packaged and beautiful video that just shows the solution that's totally streamlined. But I know a lot of folks tell me no, they'd rather see when I screw up or when I fall down a rabbit hole, I need to dig myself out. That's where they get the real learning value. So the Google CTF one in particular, it's after a capture the flag competition is over, and I truthfully look, I didn't solve this. I had no idea how to approach this. I'll go look at the write-ups, and then I thought why don't I try to make a video understanding what this write-up did? So I feel like I'm kind of a cheese ball. Hey, my imposter syndrome's hitting hard, but let me show you this other guy's solution and how I'm understanding it. So that seemed to still be well received. It's let me open source the learning process. And I don't know, people still like that. So
yeah, I thought it was great. And I love that. I love removing the premise or the preconception that we're all experts. And so
not at all.
Right. Okay. So I have to figure out how to share my screen correctly because I'm missing some things. So everybody bear with me. And I apologize for, for the the beta test here as we're doing it all live.
Do I need to cover you with some airtime or anything?
I think we'll be okay. Hopefully, let's just see. So the problem is I've got everything. I've got my stream stuff here running in Firefox, and when I want to share a screen, it'll be okay, which screen do you want to share? But the other problem is everything is in separate VMs because I'm paranoid like that. So I'm Discord, you run in your own VM, and the web browser for the stream, you run in your own VM. And so the Discord VM is not in the list of, of things to share. I don't know why it's not, but if I share my whole screen, it'll share, no problem. So I don't know. Let's see. So I'm just gonna check really quick. Oh, I see. Kaczynski redeemed player screen time on Superhero. Okay, cool. So we will do that. And also, Blackout Fighter 8, thank you for subscribing to us with Tier 1. I'm sorry that I'm slow on the draw. I literally can only see the Discord because I'm sharing my entire screen right now. So fortunately, Marina's here tracking kind of like out of band and hitting me with the side channel attack to be like, yo, you need to go check this thing. So thank you, Marina, for keeping us on point. Let's see. All right. Sorry, everybody. All right, here we go. So
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, this is how the sausage gets made. All right. Superhero screen time being redeemed currently.
Yeah. So it seems like he's trying to get that JWT forged, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've always been truthfully pretty weak at cryptography. I mean, I kind of understand like private key is something that I need to keep private. Public key I can share anywhere else, aka I can always dump my SSH public key into anybody else's authorized keys files. That's totally good. But as far as like how the math works in like, for example, validating a signature, I always have to like take time to think about that and maybe go look at some notes that I've written in the past, because it's not something that I do frequently or I have to work with frequently. But I will say taking notes is the key lesson for me in that aspect. And so, John, that was actually something that you mentioned on a live that you did about how to play CTF and how to get better at hacking, was taking notes and keeping notes so that you could refer back to that. And I appreciated that as well. And sorry, Ode, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you saying?
No, I was just agreeing with you. That was it.
Oh, nice. John, do you have anything you want to add there?
I thought I saw some folks in the chat showing some love for Obsidian, and I might have mentioned this before. We might have already repeatedly had this conversation, but Obsidian.md, there's a website that offers Obsidian, the tool for note-taking. It's note-taking in Markdown, which I love because it's so much easier to kind of put together. You can slap in screenshots, which is to copy-paste. Obsidian does this kind of graph view where you can like link all your thoughts and segments together and kind of see a mind map of everything you're learning. Have we already kind of beaten that dead horse talking about Obsidian for note-taking? But I love it.
I don't think we have, but micro is Ode's thing, right?
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Is it micro is your thing, Ode, for note-taking?
Yeah. Micro, yeah, I take notes in micro, but I use micro mainly to write little scripts. But speaking of Obsidian, I was just watching IPSEC's video, and I believe he was using Obsidian for most of the video. For what was it? CrossFit?
CrossFit, yeah, CrossFit 2 maybe.
Yeah, the second one.
He'll correct me. He'll correct us.
Yeah. He did a great video on CrossFit, and there was an unintended on that box. I found out later on, and because I personally haven't tried Hack the Box, but I spoke to Sysmix. He didn't root it the same way that IPSEC did. He found a way with the Selenium browser. He was able to spawn a browser as root and get it that way. But yeah, it's super interesting. Super interesting. He made a great video. So if anyone hasn't watched IPSEC's videos in general, you definitely should. And if you haven't seen that one, check that one out when you have some time.
Yeah, A++ on all of those. And I'm as well a big fan of Markdown. Very easy to write, very easy to modify. It renders beautifully. And for folks that have hosted UHC with me, I send them like a host guide, and I send it to them in PDF, but also in Markdown format, because Markdown is literally, it's just plain text. And you may not trust a PDF coming from me, which I would understand.
Yeah, we got Lana in here. She was waiting on the 10-minute follow timer. I didn't even know we had a follow timer.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, 10-minute makes people wait 10 minutes, I guess.
Nice. And what is that like? Can you elaborate further on that? When it like who has to wait 10 minutes exactly?
Any person that joins the stream has to follow it and then wait 10 minutes after they followed it to type in chat.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so that's like part of the just the channel requirements.
You can turn it off in the account. somewhere.
Cool. Okay, that will be notes for the hacking esports folks. I am definitely not the channel admin, but it seems like a thing that we should disable so that folks can engage immediately when they join.
Yeah, it's there for like if you had trolls spamming the chat with all the counts and stuff like that.
I see. Got it. So I just wanted to point out really quick, one thing I saw that Superhero was doing that I thought was a really good call out was they were modifying one field at a time. So, we saw like admin in or like a username in two different places, right? There's like username was guest, and then there was like the auth level, which was also guest. And so, I would think initially, like, let me just change those both to admin. But if I don't get the expected result, one thing that's good to change is just one of those fields back and then see what you get, right? And try to figure out like what the response is for what's actually happening on the other side.
I hate to completely derail us.
Go for it.
Saravejo, and I might be mispronouncing the name, forgive me, but they had redeemed a question asking, hey, did you guys already try the new machine on Hack the Box? And I think he is referring to CrossFit 2.
Nice.
Personally, I haven't been able to jump in. I don't know, Ryan, anyone?
I've never in my life connected to a Hack the Box machine, so it's not, maybe one of these days, but Try Hack Me is my community for now.
Nice.
On other completely derail, I do see Celesian with a shell.
Oh, sick. All right, let's give a look at Celesian. And actually, first off, I'm just gonna jump back really quickly, so everybody bear with me again while we do the infinity share. Let's see. So yeah, I have also not tried CrossFit or any of the newer boxes on Hack the Box, but I did finish Reddish today, which was really cool. It was one of the insane boxes, and it was part of my New Year's, I guess, resolution for learning container security, which was to finish all of the Hack the Boxes that have containers in them. So I've done a number of them. Thank you. I've done a number of them, and Reddish was the latest one. Super cool. You had to like pivot through like 5 different containers. But unfortunately, the escape onto the host was something that I already knew. So I feel like I may have like hit the extent of like what I understand about container escapes, and I need to maybe pivot to look at a different area for container security now. But it's been an amazing learning experience just in these first 3 months of the year, and I am super excited to learn more as always.
Crushing an insane machine, though. That is awesome.
Nice.
Thanks. Yeah, super fun. I definitely, it surfaced another area of improvement for me, which was to get better at pivoting and tunnels. I do okay, but putting tooling into these containers where they're so bare bones and there's just nothing there to work with. It can be really painful if you have not set up your tunnels in a more flexible way. And so for me, it was that former case where I did not set up my tunnels in a very flexible way. And I was doing like some really weird like bash stuff with dev TCP to transfer files and having to do like static builds and everything. But it all worked out. I learned a couple of neat tricks in that. But I think more importantly, I learned that I have a new focus area for opportunity of improvement. It looks like Celesian's on a Windows box now. I did see like iNet pub in the path earlier when Celesian was poking at stuff. And I thought maybe that was a troll, like Ode alluded to. Sometimes you get these like rabbit holes that the CTF will lead you down. So I thought maybe like, they're on a Linux box and they put the web root in like, a directory called iNet pub. But nope, here we are with PowerShell on a Windows system.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm watching Celesian right now.
Is this the first time UHC has rolled out, hey, here's a Windows target?
No, actually, there have been a few, and the last one, the root privesc, nobody got it, but the privesc to get the root flag or the final flag was literally to run WSL, the Windows subsystem for Linux, as root. Like it was literally like WSL2-U root, and that would have got you your root shell that you needed to get the root flag.
Wow.
No.
But like I didn't know that was an option. I didn't know that existed, and I thought that was a really cool learning experience. So it's like it kind of reinforces to me that that benefit of being lazy, if you will, and just trying for the low hanging fruit first, right? Like getting on a box. So many times I get a shell and I don't even think to try like sudo-l. And so many times that ends up being the way, like, oh yeah, you could just do this thing as sudo or like as an escalated privilege and work your way up into a root shell or the access that you need. And I never think to try that until I've tried like 5 other things first. And I'm like, wait, shoot, I forgot to do sudo-l.
Right. What are your, when you get onto a Linux box, what are the first commands that you run before you run a script?
I would like to drop all the history first. So I have like I have a blob of things that will like unset variables and prevent logging. There's like a way that I found that's really fun to do with a hiss command. And so it will literally like, it's a one shot to just like prevent all logging, which seems to be pretty good. Mm-hmm. Getting into, then I like to look around it, just like read primitives, right? Like what's running on the box. So, basically like PS, what does this box know about anything else on the network? So like SS or NetSat or ARP, looking at the ARP tables, looking at, what the current connections are, or listening connections. What else? Those are like my initial first steps. What about you, John?
I'm sure you check out groups and
yeah.
Just like that. I think that everybody goes through I think not everybody has the same style, but the same few commands everybody runs. And then, what's your favorite enumeration tool?
Depends. What are we enumerating?
Well, like overall for Linux.
If we're doing like the Privesc stuff, I like 2 tools. I like linps, which I think is very common, and then there's also Linux Smart Enumeration, which is LSE is like really nice. Gives you like a lot of detail about things that it finds. One of the things that I'll check, and a lot of times I just kind of have a sense like I landed in a container. So I will look. I'll check /proc/1/c groups. And that will tell me right away, like if I'm in a container, because you'll see like a bunch of, Docker stuff, or you'll just see like, this is not Docker. You can also check at the root, there's usually .docker env. But if I'm in a container, there's am I contained, and also deep C, which Ode, I know like you're a big fan of. And I think a couple of weeks ago we were like, please run deep C, and the players were not running deep C. And I was like, I'm going to run this now every time I get in a container.
And then the creator of the challenge yesterday released a write-up in the Discord, and he used DeepC to show that the Docker was privileged.
Nice.
You couldn't use DeepC to auto-exploit it, but it did show you that it was privileged, and I appreciated that he used it to show that. There's another tool that a lot of people don't know of called Ed. And it scans the system and looks for sockets. And if it can't find it, you can actually give it a socket, and it's pretty powerful tool. But most people don't know about Ed. So if you don't have Ed, download it and compile it.
Nice. Also, did y'all see that? It looked like Celesian had an encoding issue there. So there's some password that Celesian pulled out, and then in the notes on the right side, the ampersand had been translated to the HTML translation of ampersand AMP semicolon. And I hate when that happens. It bites me so many times that I miss it. It drives me nuts.
Let me get a link. Somebody asked in the chat. It's gonna look crazy, chat,
but trust him, it's fine. You can totally download it and use it, no problem.
Yeah, well, I can't put links in the chat,
Right? Yeah, you got to defang them.
Yeah, I got to make this link look really crazy, but it'll work.
Do like a base64 encoding of the link, and then just like paste that, and then be like base64 decode this. There you go.
That's a good idea.
I may or may not have had to get around filters at some point in my life.
For everybody right now.
So, Ode, I really liked your question about what do you do when you first get on a box, and I want to hear this from you. But John, I want to hear your response first. When you first land on a Linux system, what are your go-to commands? What are you looking for?
My answer is probably pretty boring. I do the knee-jerk reaction of sudo attack L like immediately. If it's not who am I or ls. No, that one I actually do remember, like, hey, all the time I'm just going to check as quick as I can. I also try to look if there are any just weird or odd directories, like if there's actually content in /opt. I'll look to see if there's anything weird in the root directory, like is there uncommon folders or that just happen to be on this box, not usual to others. I'll probably jump maybe quicker than I should with an enumeration script, and I do tend to just use linps practically always. PwnCat, right? A little plug for one of the own projects that I kind of help contribute to. PwnCat will try and do that enumeration as well as it can, and then also try and do some automatic privisks when it can. But I guess I'm boring. I'll just check to see, hey, are any of that low-hanging fruit still available to me? I'll run the enumeration script, and if it can't track anything down, then I'll continue to hunt manually, looking at every odd file that I've never seen before, looking at anything that just kind of sticks out, like that's not normal, and it's probably here for a reason, etc.
And I just want to add, like, I have trouble with the response of like, this thing doesn't look normal, because for newcomers, it's hard to know what looks normal.
Yeah, that's valid.
And I don't like fault you for that answer at all, John. I just remember there was a time in my career where I was reversing something, and I was stuck on this function, and I was like, what is this? Like, this is so weird. And another coworker came by, and they were like, oh, that's RC4. And I was like, oh, like, how do you know? And they were like, oh, I just know, like, I've seen it. And I'm like, okay, well, like, how would I know by looking at this and not knowing already? And they're like, oh, you just know. Like, it just looks weird. And I'm like, oh, that's not like a good response. Yeah. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do get it, right? Because I look at cron tab entries and I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen all these before. This looks normal. My addition there, like my enrichment, is to build out your own test environments and look at them and see like what does look normal. And like, okay, cool. This is what a standard, Debian or CentOS or Ubuntu or RHEL or whatever. This is what this looks like. And then that way, when you get onto systems while you're pen testing or playing CTF, you can say like, oh yeah, there's no /backup on my normal install of Ubuntu. And the thing that's cool is like with Docker, for example, or with virtual machines or Vagrant, you can do that stuff relatively quickly. You don't have to necessarily go through the entire install and config process. You can literally be like, here's what the default environment looks like, and poke around and be like, cool, like this is what it looks like. And now like I land somewhere else and I can compare, like this does not look like what it normally looks like.
And that's a super good point too, because sometimes when you land in a spot, if it's a capture the flag challenge and hey, you just kind of connect into a box and you have no idea what the goal or what you're trying to do is, which I think is genuinely sometimes the case. Having like a file system dump of the vanilla flat installation, and you can literally just diff.
Yep.
That's kind of really helpful to like, all right, I see at least something that I can kind of drive down.
Yeah, absolutely. And so coming back around on the initial question of over to you, Ode, what do you do when you first get on a box, and like, what are you looking at?
I check to see if there's any ports listening. I check the processes. I check the process forest. I check the times. Which is something that a lot of people don't do, but a lot of CTF creators forget to either change the times or there's too many files to change the times. It just gets, I guess there's never too many files, but almost every single time I'm checking times first, and it gives me a good indication of where I need to go from that point. Then I run Linux Smart Enumeration before linps, because I feel like the process monitor is better. And then pspy, of course, and all the above. But I've been using PoneCat, and I genuinely really enjoy it. I don't know if you've noticed it, John, but PoneCat's actually on my revshells.com right now as one of the default.
Is it?
Sick.
Yeah. So it's,
You made it, John. Look at you.
I love that. That is lovely. Thank you so much.
of course, and the site's actually doing pretty well. We're in Hacking Magazine. Kit Ploy already shared it, which is, I mean, a lot of their tools are on the edge of not being great, but either way, it's a popular website, and the site's getting from 2,000 to 4,000 unique visitors a day. So all with an online reverse shell generator. I'm not making any money from it or anything, but it's super interesting to see how many people use it.
Yeah, it's a dope share. I love that you made that, O'Day, and I love that it can like didn't you make it like do you expose like an API or something now that you can like programmatically generate those shells?
Yeah, you can. So now you can either modify the shells after they're created on the site and then hit raw and then curl the shell directly onto the box, or you can just copy with JavaScript right on the page and paste. But there's a shell for almost everything. There's bind shells, and then there's MSF Venom payloads that are already generated. Your IP port and your shell of choice is stored in local storage so that you don't have to enter it every time you visit the site. The whole thing's stripped of Bootstrap, and it's a mess, but it works and it's fast.
There's a part of me that has like raw, like friendly jealousy of such a genius idea. Because like you had told me like, hey, we kind of wanted to put this together because I think Pentest Monkey had just like stopped being a thing. It fell off the face of the internet, and like, dude, what a perfect time to beautifully put together this thing that so many folks would need and necessarily use all the time. So like, that's awesome. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
And Pentest Monkey's back, but I'd hope that Rev Shells is the new standard because it's better. I got for Pentest Monkey, but it doesn't do anything close to revshells.com. Check out the light mode too when you get a chance. It's pretty funny.
I love the Comic Sans title right there.
Exactly. And that's the exact font we use.
Heck yeah.
Let's check in on Superhero. We did go to Superhero earlier. There was the purchase of the channel points for the screen time, but we can check back in, and it looks like they're kind of in the same spot where they're still fiddling around with the JWT. And to be honest, I don't think I would be in a better position currently, so I don't fault them at all. It's tough, right? Figuring out what the right path is. Especially in an area where you may not be super familiar. And, here we see Superhero is fuzzing different attributes, right? Maybe if you change auth role to a different, configuration or something like that, different text, you might be able to get a different response out of the application. You never know. It's a black box, literally, where you're trying to break into something. And pretty much all we can do is experiment and test, F around and find out, essentially. For sure. And I saw that Celesian earlier. He used admin twice. He used the auth role as 5. I think he might have. I don't know if he brute forced it. I don't know what he did. He might have guessed. I missed the beginning of what he did because I was watching Superhero. But I also see others doing the same thing right now and not getting the same results. So I maybe they're not encoding it correctly or their secret's wrong. I don't know. It's one of them things where I wish I could just do it. I want to join. Jump in and try. Well, O'Day, you should definitely join us one Sunday. I see you crushing it in the qualifiers, but I do understand that it is pretty strenuous under the lights live on the internet.
Right, and that's what I said earlier too. It's every week I do the qualifiers, and I tend to get first or second place, and I choose not to compete. And the truth is because I don't want to lose.
Yeah,
I'm nervous. I'm nervous that I'm going to lose, and I don't want a recording of me losing on the internet, which is an ego problem, and I got to work on it.
It is totally understandable, especially having been there, and it makes me all that much more appreciative of all the UHC players. I have no idea how they compete week after week on here live and just, work and work and work, and they may not win. It's okay. Like, it's still amazing. And I think that's what we need to embrace, is that just the fact that we are all out here trying things and learning things, that's where the real value is. So, Ode, we'll see you on here next week competing? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, so let's see. So we were checking out Superhero. Has anybody else been checking out any players that look like they're doing some interesting stuff? I'm kind of curious about these newcomers, like Clips. I think they were from Germany, I want to say, and I want to see what they were up to.
Clips is getting a lot of love in the chat.
Nice. What up? That's so cool. It is always like, I don't know, just mind-blowing to me that people around the world are all contributing and joining and participating in this. It's amazing.
We see a new question that has popped up. Forgive me again on the name. I think it's Fryra Bibata. Redeemed a message. Hey, do you know PHP Exploit? I effing love this tool. And he linked us a great GitHub for PHP Exploit. Have you ever heard of that one, Oda?
I have not.
Yeah, that one is news to me as well.
Man, we're just showing our ignorance tonight because I have not heard of this either.
Yeah, it looks like a combination of Empire and Metasploit all in one.
What?
All right. So is it only geared towards Windows systems then?
Let's see.
Supported platforms as a target are GNU Linux, BSD-like, Mac OS X, and Windows NT. Supported platforms as an attacker are GNU Linux and Mac OS X.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, yeah, like PHP is, cross-platform,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't see why it wouldn't apply to everything.
Yeah, this seems interesting, and the fact that it has 1,200 stars on GitHub and I don't know about it is.
Yep, same for us.
Going out on the internet, publicly embarrassing myself again.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Look forward to trying out PHP Exploit and learning more about it. Like I said, I always learn at least one or two new things every week on UHC. And while I'm grateful to be on the host side of the screen and not sweating like bullets while I'm trying to play and fumble around, I still feel like I'm sweating bullets sometimes because I don't know all of the answers. And I am very grateful to continue learning through all of the other folks that we have involved here.
Yep. And Sysmic's left. At least he's gone.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. So we do have a rule about folks having to share their screen. And it's mainly like an honor system, like, don't cheat type of thing. So hopefully Sysmix returns and we can continue, because I know Sysmix is like one of the top players in Try Hack Me. Like, I feel like Ode, you and Sysmix are like always like kind of gunning for the top.
Yeah, I think he was number 4 last week on Hack the Box. I think he might be number 7 right now. I don't know. The point system is complicated to me on Hack the Box. Someone tried to explain it to me before. It's like an average sum between multiple different things.
Right on. So let's see. We are still checking on Clips. Clips is looks like Clips is kind of like manually one by one going through each of these Git commits, which is definitely a way you can do it. You can look at what the additions and the removals were, the modifications, and you can definitely find, potentially like stored credentials or maybe non-linked areas of the site for attack surface. But given that you've got a whole copy of the Git repo, this is probably where you want to rely on automation like Git tools or GitRob or Trufflehog or something to kind of look through the commit log and give you more info. I've got a tweet that I had posted about using ref logs for finding fast differences between or quickly finding differences between commits and then being able to grep for sensitive aspects. But man, going through the commits one by one is painful. I've definitely been there, but it's painful, especially in a 3-hour CTF.
I tend to do a very gross like git log pipe to grep to look for the commits, and then a cut to carve out the SHA-1 ID, and then like a while loop to run git show on all of them so that I can just scroll through each one on their own. And then it's like me staring at strings output, just parsing through it all just to see, hey, if is there anything I miss? So
yeah,
it's got to be done.
Definitely. And so I mentioned earlier, I have like some tooling that I had published that that will loot email addresses from Git repos. And so if you see on the left there in the Git log output, they have like the commit author's email address. And so in IRL CTF, like hacking regularly, pulling out email addresses is so helpful because it can help you build out a profile for a person who might have access to the systems that you want access to. And so from there, you can dig into like, what are their profiles? Where have they maybe posted something before that they, might lead you to answering a security question, or what email addresses of theirs show up in database dumps or something like that. And so when you find single factor authentication mechanisms on a perimeter, you can then authenticate with those passwords or credentials or whatever that you may have recovered that will get you in on those single factor authentication mechanisms. So looting those email addresses can be really valuable.
I always feel like, oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, let's jump around, and anybody have like someone that they want to check out?
I am still lurking on Celesian. I will admit, maybe I'm biased. I just love watching him because he always runs and guns it. He is fighting so hard for this reverse shell connection. He's trying to use some PowerShell to get things kickstarted with the credential. It looks like he has Netcat downloaded and is trying to start it with some privileges, but it's just not coming through. So he is frantic back and forth alt-tabbing between his notes to copy and paste some, hey, loaded in the canon syntax, and just fighting for the callback.
I definitely feel less experienced in Windows systems. I have to rely a lot more heavily on my notes. They don't fail me all the time, fortunately, which is good. In the Hacker 101 CTF, there was, in the Try Hack Me room, there was the Medium box, which was a Windows box. And fortunately, once I got a shell there, I was able to pivot and work my way through everything without having to dig too much further. It was just all in my notes and looking at things in my notes of when I've been in this situation before, what have I done that's worked? And that was super helpful. But I definitely do not come up with the right questions to ask as fast for Windows systems as I do for Linux systems.
Yeah.
So, on a Linux system, I feel much more at home, and I can be like, okay, here's a weird thing that I'm seeing, or I'm I think I need to go look into this thing. On Windows, I feel almost oblivious, where I have no idea. And I feel more like I'm just kind of running through a run book, for example. John and Ode, and John, we'll start with you. Do you ever get in that situation in a particular environment? And what do you do when you feel like things are less intuitive to you and more run book style for you?
Yeah. You used the specific word that I was absolutely going to harp on because I think it sums it up really well. I was studying for my OSEP certification, the offensive security experience penetration tester, and that focuses really heavily in the Windows environment with Active Directory, and you're using Bloodhound. Also, I see Alhazard, I think, rated hosted the channel with 82.
Yeah, Alhazred, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again and bringing all your peeps with you.
Thank you.
So for folks that are rating in for the first time, you are watching UHC. This is the ultimate hacking championship. You are watching a live hacking competition. These are systems that have been set up specifically to be hacked. In the finals for tonight, live 10 players going after the same environment, trying to get all of the flags, flags being proof of access. This is amazing. Al has read, yes, calling it out with Chisel. I love Chisel as well. A Golang tool, cross-platform, can compile it wherever, drop it wherever. I've dropped it in Docker containers and still been able to tunnel things. It's awesome. And so, sorry, John, thank you so much for calling it out about the raid. Please continue with regard to like the run books and feeling intuitive.
No, I was so scared for that OSEP exam and certification test because I knew it was going to be in Windows, and that's a realm that I am not as familiar with, or I don't consider it as much of a strong suit as I am in the Linux realm. I just felt like I didn't have the intuition as to know what to do next or how to do even what to do if I knew how and what. I just feel like a fish out of water. So trying to put together mental checkpoints, like in my notes, is like, hey, go check this thing. If you have this many puzzle pieces, you could try this thing. I just felt like I needed to build out more of a map and compass for myself than I would otherwise. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a good approach, or at least that's the approach that I subscribe to, is, trying to lay more of a groundwork for myself to enable myself to succeed. It looks like here Celesian has been able to authenticate as the local admin, and oh my gosh, there it is, through the proxy chain. It looks like Celesian has got the final flag through the RDP.
Excellent.
Yes, we have a winner.
Celesian.
Oh my goodness. Al has read, all of you folks that rated just caught the end of a successful UHC run by Celesian. Wow. Oh my goodness.
I think I saw him the impersonate privilege. That's what I think he did, but I'm not entirely sure, but congratulations.
Wow, that was super cool.
With the GUI. That's how you win.
Yeah, that was amazing. All right, so all the folks that are with us, stay tuned. We are going to raid into the Brazilian stream. Again, UHC is originally a Brazilian idea, and we are going to raid into their stream, and we will get the answers for how the challenges were solved as well as how they were made. So sorry for the infinite share there, but yeah, stay with us. You don't have to do anything. Everything's just going to raid automatically on Twitch, and we'll get more info about hacking. And I think Isa, our stream manager, everybody put a heart in the chat for Isa, who made everything go as smoothly as possible tonight, despite my best efforts. Give Isa some love, and stay with us, and we will join the Brazilian raid. And so away we go, I think. I don't know.
Awkward.
This is the awkward part where we wait.
Ryan over here.
I used to sit at traffic lights and be like, and now. And now.
I still do that.
I've said it takes a few minutes, and yeah, there it goes. So we could technically press the leave button now, and it would bring us over there, I guess. But I don't know how it works on your end.
Yeah, I think I don't know what happens. I've got the English stream pulled up, and it's still in the English stream. So until I see the English stream switch over, I'm just gonna stay here, and I guess we'll tell dad jokes. It's time for dad jokes. We didn't tell any dad jokes tonight.
Oh yeah, that's true.
O'Day, I'm kicking it to you to start it off.
Oh, well, I got one for you. Did I tell you about the shoes being tied?
No.
Well, when you tie your shoes, you never win the race.
Because the shoes